Welcome back to the channel, and I'm trying to clean out my watch list of closed items. I think all of these except for one big one, and it's circled on the thumbnail. All the rest of them were auctions, but there was I think a pallet. It looks like either Palatoy. It might be a US. It looks like a US card. Chewbacca Miscard with Darth Vader inside that sold for insane money. So we got to show that one, even though it was a buy it now situation. The rest of them, I think, are all auctions, and they span the gamut from 12 backs to Empire Strikes Back to Return of the Jedi, and then some Power of the Force. So we kind of get a nice spread here of different recent mint on card sales. Thanks always to my Patreon supporters. Patreon.com/actionfiguregrader is where you can go to sign up. All right, let's take a look. We've got a 12-back C Jawa that sold in an auction. It was graded AFA 80+, punched example, no price sticker. And here's a label. It's a square bubble inner tray, 80, 85, 85. So there you go. And obviously, I think that square bubble is just referring to how some of them have that angled out bubble. This has just got the square bubble with the inner tray inside. So 12-back C, 80+ for $1,200. That's probably about right. I mean, it feels like pretty much any 12-back A, B, or C in high grade, you're going to be over $1,000 these days, with the exception maybe of the Death Squad Commander. I have seen a few of those that have gone in that $800 to $900 range in high grade 12-back Cs. But for the most part, pretty much every other character, to my knowledge, you're going to be in the four figures. And so that was a nice sale there. Here was another one that was ungraded, 20-back A Han Solo. And this one did have a price sticker, punched example. I would guess this has got a pretty decent chance at an 80 grade. It had some light scuffing on the back that you can see there, really all over the back of the card. So maybe the card gets a 75. Blister's in really good shape. Weapon still taped to the inside of the blister. 85, 85 for the blister and figure subscore. So I think it's got a really solid chance at an overall 80. If not, it would definitely be a 75 plus in my book. So 836, good deal. That's a pretty good deal there for a nice example of Han. Here was a 20-back C Walrus Man, punched example, price sticker, ungraded, but it did include the sliding acrylic case there. You can see where there is a litho tear on the back of the card. So probably those were extension stickers if I had to guess. Although maybe it could have been the blacked out sticker and they just pulled it off. But I think those were extension stickers potentially before that. Little card wave, but $315. Pretty good deal there relative to what higher grade examples go for. Here was an AFA 75, 21-back A Snaggletooth. Again, a punched example with two price stickers. Is that Labelle? What is that? That is self-service. I haven't seen a self-service sticker in a while. $350 on that one. $710 is what the final sales price was. 75, 85, 80 were the sub scores. Pretty good deal. I mean, it's maybe a little higher than I pay for a 75. I have seen some 80 grades for the 21A Snaggletooth that have gone for not much more than what this one sold for. So it was maybe a little higher. I was kind of thinking 600, maybe even in the high fives, but 710 took that one home. Jeff's Collectible Empire. Jeff Jacob, obviously, we're all anticipating the Hakes auctions that start in January of next year for Jeff Jacob's collection, but he does have an eBay sales page that I think is run by his son. This was a yellowed blister, 41-back E for the Sand People. Punched, again, yellowed sticker, AFA, or yellow blister, I should say, AFA 75. That one sold in an auction for $410. Same auction also had this AFA 80+, again, slightly yellowed blister for the Ugnaught, partially unpunched, or mostly, it looks like it's unpunched. And no price sticker on that one. So that one sold for $232.50. I thought that was a pretty good deal. I think the yellowing held it back, although the yellowing was very minor. But you know, again, we talked about ESB card backs for the Sand People. Those tend to command a pretty decent premium. And even this one that was a yellow blister still sold for $410. I don't know why that is, but it must have been one of those characters that was not produced in big numbers on ESB card backs. So $410, that's kind of in line with, I think I've got a 41-back E as well, although mine's clear blister. And I paid a little more than this. I think I paid $440 for mine, if memory serves, 410 for a yellow blister. Mine was an AFA 80. This was an AFA 75. So feel pretty good about that purchase now. Here's another one in my collection. This is a 47 back free 4-lum offer for Luke Skywalker in his Hoth battle gear. I have an AFA 80 that I picked up from Hakes in an auction. I think I paid $660 for mine after the buyer's premium. And mine was a slightly yellow blister, just like this one. And I think mine was also a punched example. This one sold for $609. Again, kind of right in line if you account for the grading costs for mine. I feel pretty comfortable with that, just given what this one sold for in an auction at $609. I think that's a very fair deal, too. Here's one that was picked up by a fellow YouTuber. I won't spoil the surprise. He might have already released the video. I haven't checked yet. But a good buddy of mine picked this one up. This is the 48 back free Revenge of the Jedi offer. I'm assuming, yeah, this is the 48 back B, because it's got the Admiral Akbar sticker on the back for IG-88. And, you know, he said this was about a 70 or 75 grade. And 261 is a great deal on that. Higher grade examples can routinely go for $800 or more for IG-88 on this card back. It did have some light, creases on the card and things like that, but at that price, it's hard to beat. That's a really good pickup, I think. Next up was a 48 back B for Zuckuss, AFA 80, yellow blister, obviously with a Kmart price sticker and an unpunched example. That one sold for $396. Again, right in line with market. Clear blister examples in this grade would probably be in the $650 range, somewhere in that ballpark. So I thought that was very fair. Another interesting sale was this 65 back B for the Hoth Imperial Stormtrooper. It was a clear blister. Interestingly enough, it did have some discoloration to the limbs on this one. So it makes you wonder if maybe this was a Spanish PBP figure inside. That's a common defect for a lot of the Spanish figures, is that the arms and legs discolor. Sometimes even the torso does. I'm sure the back of the card has made in Hong Kong on there. Nope, made in China. So this was a made in China COO. But sometimes Spanish PBP figures do get packed inside U.S. Kenner cards. And they're usually the Cantina creatures, as we've talked about with the made in Spain card backs. But even I've seen some that have made in Hong Kong card backs, especially Palatoy tri-logos, where they do pack in Spanish PBP figures. So I don't know. I'm assuming that this is a China COO. It makes sense if it would. $453 on this one. I think just mainly because the card is in fairly decent shape. It did have one crease on the right-hand side there that you can see, but otherwise a very clean card. Probably gets a 75 plus or maybe an 80. Probably, I would lean towards an 80, quite honestly, but that one did sell for $453. Here was an AFA 60 for Yoda on the 65 back B. It obviously did have, it was labeled clear blister. It looks like it might be yellowing slightly since grading, and it is only an AFA 60, but that one did sell for $274. Not a bad pickup if you're okay with the lower grade. Card got a 70, blister 50, so I'm assuming it's got a crack on the blister somewhere. Yeah, you can see some cracking on the very top of the blister there. So probably holds up in shipping just because there's not much movement or wiggle room inside that blister. It's a small blister, small character. I bet it makes it safe and sound to whoever the new owner is. Archival case, but $274 is a great deal there. Here is an AFA 80 plus yellowed blister B-Wing pilot on the 77 back B Anakin Skywalker offer. That one sold for $190.50, about what I would expect for that. Fairly common item, pretty heavily yellowing to the blister, so that makes perfect sense on the final sales price. We have another 79 back. This is the C card back for Lumat. And, obviously they stay clear blister because these were made in Mexico. And he also does have the telltale torso discoloration, which the Lumat is kind of known for. It's not as bad on this one, but you often do see that issue. $270, maybe a little more than I'd pay. I don't know. It's within the range, right? It's probably on the upper end of the range. You could probably be patient and pick one up for $250, but who cares? It's $20. Just grab it and move on. It also was free shipping, so that probably factored into the final sales price. Here, Brian's Toys had an AFA 80 for Luke Skywalker Jedi Knight. It was a yellowed 80, obviously, with the Anakin offer. $390 on that one. So, pretty good deal there. Next up, we've got another Luke Jedi. This is on the Power of the Force card. and it was ungraded but in really clean shape based on what I could tell. $535 was the final sales price. Actually a little bit lower than what I was expecting. I was thinking kind of $700 somewhere, maybe $650, somewhere in that ballpark. So $535 was a good deal there. Some other Power of the Force. We had an Emperor on the Power of the Force card back that looked to be very clean, obviously heavy yellowing, $294.99, and then the Imperial Gunner had some pretty heavy yellowing. It was a punched example, no price sticker. That sold for $331. So I don't know what was going on there, or maybe just because of the lack of good photos that people were not willing to risk accidentally getting a cracked blister. But $331, if that arrives safe and sound with no cracks to the blister, that's a good deal. That's a good deal. Usually that character, loose and ungraded, can go for that price. It maybe has some, some frosting going on the head there, but still, that's a pretty good deal for a mint on card. Chewbacca, that one sold for $400. He's a sneaky expensive character on the Power of the Force Power of the Force card back. It was an unpunched example, no price sticker as well. So $400 on that one. And then here's the big one. Here's the big one. This was a factory error sealed miscard, and it was a Palatoy 65 back D. So I was wrong. It was a Palatoy card back, and it was a miscard. Factory miscard Darth Vader on a Chewbacca 65 back D. 75, 85, 90 were the subscores from CAS for an overall 75. It was listed for $6,000, $6,000, and it did sell according to eBay. So more than I'd spend. I was thinking maybe $2,000 or $3,000 max, but someone was apparently willing to pay $6,000 for it, assuming that was a legitimate sale. Big number for a factory error miscard. Not many of those floating about, I imagine, and that was a really interesting sale. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this look at recent mint on card vintage Star Wars sales. Thank you as always for watching, and I'll be back soon.